Hey everyone, it's Madison Josiato. We have to talk more about defunding the police. There's been a lot of misinformation out there. I've talked before about in the past how they defunded the police, but essentially, moved funds around and there was no defunding in those communities. But right now we're seeing a push greater than ever before to actually take significant funds away from police departments. Important police departments in cities where crime rates are certainly not low. In many cities across the country, we're seeing rises in violent crime rates, which are putting communities at risk. In New York City, of course, we saw $1 billion budget cut, close to 20% of their police department's budget, which is going to eliminate the class of incoming cadets, which is going to put many people at risk. And in that city, the crime rate is not going down. And it's going to be complete anarchy and violence if this path continues. You have people like AOC coming out and saying, this $1 billion cut isn't even enough. She wants to completely defund policing. Okay, guess what, guys? People like AOC aren't going to be affected by that. So she's going out there and pushing for this, and some of her supporters are, behind her pushing for this. But some of those supporters that live in those cities are going to be the ones affected. Remember, when you look at cities like New York City, these Americans don't have access to their Second Amendment rights in the ways that many of us do in places like Ohio and across the country. These people can't protect themselves. They really rely on the police in these communities to protect them in a time of crisis. There's a lot of gang violence in New York City as well as many other cities. We need protection by the police. And we're not going to have a police department that's going to be equipped to protect people on the mass scale that we need them to if we continue to see these cuts. You look at Chaz, Chop, or whatever they wanted to call themselves in Seattle, we look at what happened there. They dismantled it after, weeks of letting it go on and on, which was just ridiculous. But we saw an increase in the crime rates. We saw rapes, murder. We saw assaults. We saw gang violence. But, according to them, having no police was going to solve all these problems. No, of course that's not going to happen. So we really have to make sure that we put a focus on protecting Americans, protecting the Americans that rely on the police every single day. We need to make sure that this does not become a widespread issue across the country. Because the reality is defunding the police is not the answer to any of the problems we have right now. Arguably, we may need more funding in certain police departments for training to make them better police departments. We got to continue to take a look at all the options. This is not the option. This is not okay, guys. Continue to speak up against this.